So on this episode of Foster Denovo Talks, we interview Ian Little. On this episode, Ian talks about the reasons for selling his business, the transition and change journey that he went through.
And at some point, you've got to sell your business. And we thought, well, you've got to sell your business. Let's get on with it. I thought I was ready for change. I always really liked change. But I've subsequently found out that I liked change when it was my idea. But when it's somebody else's idea, I found that really difficult. Just moving away from running a business for so many years to then become part of something else. That was probably the hardest thing, just the change and moving across out there.
The opportunities it's brought, but also the common misconceptions that people might have about selling their businesses.
The staff are feeling significantly more secure now when they realised, how nice the people were right from the top of the business. Give them a massive amount of security to realise that everybody cares about. We haven't lost any staff to other competitors, and it's a very competitive market with regards to finding good quality staff. So we thought we might lose one or two, and that hasn't happened at all. So the reassurance that they got from the senior people as we went through that journey was incredibly important.
And the opportunities that it's brought for him and his team in our new Newcastle hub. So do check it out. Hi Ian, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. So Ian, you joined us as part of an acquisition, which we're going to talk lots about. But I suppose my first question to you would be, what was the sort of tipping point for you wanting to sell your business? And please don't say what you said on our celebration day when I interviewed you with your simple reply of "Dosh."
No, it was significantly more than that, obviously.
Excellent.
But, the main tipping point was one of my colleagues, co-shareholders, who wanted to retire. And also, our age. I was hit my 60s 3 years ago. And I think it was an appropriate time to consider it. In particular, none of us had a situation where we could have some familial succession, which would have been a preferred option. If one of the kids had come through the business, that would have been a nice thing to do. So, and at some point, you've got to sell your business. And we thought, well, if you've got to sell your business, let's get on with it. We considered buying my colleague out, my co-shareholder, David. We considered buying him out. And I think being in our 60s, that was something that we thought was probably a little bit late in life to be raising a lot of money to do so. So I thought, well, we've built the business together. Let's sell the business together. And that's what we did.
Okay. And so what was it that you were looking for? What were the biggest priorities that you were looking for from your potential buyer?
Sure. It took a while to realise what that was, and we'd been approached by other businesses.
Numerous, I would imagine.
Numerous, yeah. On a regular basis. And we didn't really know what we wanted because we've never sold a business before, and that was quite a difficult thing to do. But when we sat down with a broker and worked out what was important to us, it was three sort of very important things. It was about the clients being looked after properly on the transition and beyond, the staff all being taken care of as well properly, because as well as being colleagues for many years, they've become friends, and then last but not least, the shareholders. And we wanted to sell the whole business lock, stock and barrel. That was quite important to us.
Okay.
Rather than selling the assets of the business, which a lot of acquirers are interested in. Yeah,
there's so many acquirers out there and consolidators and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? That you have to, I imagine, kiss a lot of frogs.
We did, yeah. No, we did do that, in fairness. And the broker put 6 firms in front of us. And we very quickly whittled that down to 3 firms. One of which was obviously Foster Denovo.
Yes, thank you. And we're very happy to have you. So during the acquisition period, what were the biggest challenges that you found for you and the firm?
Change is the first one. I thought I was ready for change. I always really liked change. But I've subsequently found out that I liked change when it was my idea. But when it's somebody else's idea, I found that really difficult. And then the just moving away from running a business for so many years to then become part of something else. And I didn't I really didn't worry about that on the basis that I've always, in my opinion, answered to my clients and the regulator. And therefore, it's almost like being an employee running your own business in our profession because of how it all works, And that was probably the hardest thing, just the change and moving across, I would think.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think that, you say that everyone likes change until it gets put upon them. And then they suddenly go, I'm not entirely sure about this. And I think it's fair to say that you've probably been through the change curve with us, haven't you? What's helped you through that process then? What's been the sort of guiding light when things are getting a bit tough or you're a bit frustrated or anything like that that's helped you through it?
A big part of that's definitely the staff at Foster Denovo. They're incredibly supportive. Everybody is, right from the top all the way down. Everybody is very supportive. That's been a huge... Well, you just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it without them. That would be difficult.
No, absolutely. And I think culture is something that, you and I have spoken about a lot, and something that you looked that aligned when you looked for your acquirer. And I think, when you do an acquisition, if the culture fits, everything else can fit into place. Would you sort of agree with that?
I would, yeah. I mean, when we realised what was important to us, we obviously briefed our lawyer on certain aspects of it, talked to the accountants and said, look, we need to you need to check out what you need to check out and do your professional job. We then spent all of our concentration on the culture and the time on the culture and the people. That was the key driver in terms of our assessment and due diligence on the acquirer, and that was it actually put you clear. There was clear water between Foster Denovo and the others on that basis.
And that wasn't just because we went out for a night in London.
Yeah, that had something to do with it. Yeah,
that helped.
Actually, when you go out with somebody, you do find out what they're really like, don't you? Once you've had a few sherbets, you find out what people are about. But there was clear water, and that came across, and that's been delivered since. So what we thought about the people and the culture has come across. To be right, and we our judgment was correct for sure. We're very pleased in terms of what we've done.
I mean, I would say absolutely the integration of the people has just been phenomenal, hasn't it? And whenever there's a problem or whatever, we'll look to fix it and help and all that sort of stuff. But you can really see that it's a culture that is completely and utterly aligned.
Yeah, very very much like-minded.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I agree. I mean, you mentioned something earlier about selling the business, and then of course what happens is you become employed.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of partners, when I talk to them, and a lot of people that are looking to do this, it terrifies them. So how did you feel about that? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you've always been self-employed.
Yeah, so I actually thought I was going to be okay on this issue because everybody was warning me, oh, you'll really struggle with this. And I didn't think I was an autocrat at all, but clearly I am. As I said earlier, answering to your clients and to the regulator has been something that we've always had to do in this profession. And I think on that basis, I thought I was going to find it quite easy. And I didn't realise the level of input that I had in the business and the decision making in the business at Wades before the acquisition went through until it happened, and then you realise that, well, I am, an autocrat as such.
Yeah. Okay. And also, I suppose there's another thing that people worry about is the clients, isn't it? Now, we all talk about, the clients are at the centre of everything we do, which is absolutely the truth. But how did your clients respond? So did you speak to them before? Did you speak during, after? What's their response been?
I think... the response has been really good, but some clients obviously worry about things, they think, oh, where's the firm based? It's a London firm. We're based in the Northeast. And that was something that some clients needed a bit of reassurance about, for sure. I rang every one of my clients before the letter went out to explain what was happening.
And that is no mean feat, because you have quite a lot of clients. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that is important to do that. I think, to keep and communicate with them all on an ongoing basis. I would have done that at an earlier stage with both staff and clients, looking back. So, if anybody's going to be looking at this particular discussion about thinking about selling their business, I would keep everybody well informed about what you're doing and why you're doing it and what's important to you. And I think that then delivers the right reassurance to the clients, for sure, and the staff for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, we're over a year in with you guys being part of Foster Denovo. And how has that year been then? This is quite a loaded question, but how's it been, the year?
It's been a very exciting year in the sense that, we've had all of this change. The staff are feeling significantly more secure now when they realised, how nice the people were right from the top of the business. Give them a massive amount of security to realise that everybody cares about them. I think that's a key issue, and a very important one as well. We haven't lost any staff to other competitors, and it's a very competitive market with regards to finding good quality staff. So we thought we might lose one or two, and that hasn't happened at all. So the reassurance that they got from the senior people as we went through that journey was incredibly important.
Okay.
So that's been the good side of it. Again, the change has been quite tough. I think being part of a large organisation, obviously the regulatory side has to be considerably stricter. There were 6 of us as advisors at Wades, all working in the same room. Everybody knew what each other were doing. So much easier to monitor and understand what's going on in an organisation that's a national firm like FD is. Then I think, it's much more difficult, and therefore we all have to operate on the basis of the lowest common denominator as such. And I think that bit's been quite challenging, for sure.
But we're getting through it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And if you were talking to somebody that was looking to sell their business, what sort of misconceptions do you think people have around it and how it's going to work?
I think a lot of people think it's quite easy and they'll still be in control to a huge extent. You've got to be careful of that. You're selling your business, and we all have to sell our businesses unless we've got that familial succession. So we've got to sell them at some point. And I think, people think that's going to be a lot easier. And that's probably caused by a lot of the acquirers out there who buy up businesses and leave them running as they were. That, for the longer term, is just never going to be a success, because it's never one business and it's never run properly. You're always going to have problems with the regulators. The way Foster Denovo has done it is very professional. That was one of the main reasons we chose Foster Denovo outside of the culture and the people, was because they had a plan to properly integrate you into that business, so we all become one. And while that's a bit more challenging, you get a huge amount of security from it once you've gone through that, for sure.
Yeah, and we do think of ourselves as acquisition specialists, and you're right, we do integrate from day one. That's how we want business to work. Yeah. We don't want to leave firms sitting on their own, because then it's an add-on, isn't it? I mean, I think one of the great things about you guys was, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the reasons that you guys wanted to join as well, that we wanted to form a hub. We wanted to create a Newcastle hub, that we didn't have before. So how do you think that's worked for you guys then?
I think it's worked very well. That's been a good part of the transition, and I think you've taken on the office properly. You've spent some money and invested in the office. You've got your signage up there, so I think that integration has been. At first, you think, I don't want them to integrate too quickly because clients might be spooked by it. But I think once it's just done, and it's great, the clients have got more security from the fact that it's a bigger business, but they've still got the same local service from the same people that they've always dealt with. And I think that's been fantastic.
Yeah, and we definitely did integrate. We've added self-employed guys into there. We've added different other businesses that we had in Newcastle, so that everyone's now sitting in the same office, working together and integrating and all that sort of stuff. What sort of opportunities do you think that might bring for you and the team?
I think it'll help us recruit people.
Please God, because it's hard to recruit good people, isn't it?
To an easier extent. I think once Foster Denovo is well known in the Northeast, I think it'll definitely be easier to recruit the right people, and that's one of the biggest challenges, as you well know.
Yeah.
So I think that's that for sure. I think also as well the AI integration that we're going through at the moment is marvelous, because the thing that I struggled through with that integration, as I mentioned earlier, is the extra compliance. If the AI, which it looks like it's going to, does the heavy lifting on the compliance side of things, and we can focus then on delivering the best outcomes and best service for our clients. That's what we all want. It's exactly what we want. It just strengthens the relationship even further with the clients.
Absolutely, and speeding up the process and making everything more efficient, and actually letting you guys go out there and see more clients. Actually, not sure I want you to have any more clients, because you've got far too many at the moment. Okay, well, that's great. And what is the most exciting thing you see for the future?
Definitely the AI. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. And then retiring, obviously.
I was going to say, so what's Ian Little 5 years on? What are we looking at?
I think 5 years on, I'll probably be retired.
Okay.
But it's the AI is the thing that could keep me, for longer, assuming you guys will have me, of course. You might be sick of me by then.
I think we'll have you.
My original plan was to do 3 to 5 years, and then I thought 3 would be sufficient. But if the AI really works and does take up that heavy lifting and make the job so much more pleasurable, without that, we have a massive amount of paperwork to do in our profession. We still haven't got rid of it all yet. And the AI, from what I've seen so far, is really making positive inroads towards removing a lot of that. Okay,
so just to finish, what I've heard is get the AI right and Ian's staying for another 5 years.
Yeah.
Is that it? We've got it on camera now.
That's not a contract.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.